After 3 years of preparation and work, we finally set off in mid-July, and so far we have sailed from Deganwy, up and around Puffin Island, along the Menai Strait and through the notorious Swellies, past Carnarvon and its treacherous bar and across to Porthincline, then down the Llyn Peninsula, past Bardsey Island and into the open Irish Sea all the way south to Fishguard.
From there we rounded Strumble Head and navigated around Ramsey Island and Skoma Island to the anchorage at Dale.
We went into Milford Haven for a bit of a break, and after that we headed back out to the Bristol Channel around Lundy Head, where we took a bit of a beating.
So we were really grateful to get into Swansea Marina for the night.
From there we sailed to Penarth Marina, where we had a lovely week off. And after that we sailed to Oxwich Bay, a gorgeous anchorage on the south coast of Wales, where you find us now.
That's a total of 300 nautical miles covered and lots of lessons learned already, and it's only now that we feel like that we're properly living boat life as we move from anchorage to anchorage.
Jump from? Well, you need to get over the other side.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
I just land on it.
No.
Oh, that's cold. No, you have to do it.
I'm not jumping.
There you are. You're jumping.
So we have decided to stay in Oxwich Bay tonight because it's really nice. We were just going to stop here and then leave this morning for Lundy Island, but it's too nice to leave, and the wind direction is better tomorrow to be anchored off Lundy Island. So we're just playing about while Ollie's having a nap.
Previously on Sailing Melody, we are Andy, Melissa, Jack and Ollie. 4 years ago we bought a tiny boat which turned into a huge dream to give up land life, move onto a sailing yacht and sail full time, and maybe one day to sail all the way around the world. So with a tiny budget we got a bigger boat, and then an even bigger boat which we spent 3 years rebuilding for the three of us. But then Ollie came along, so we needed an even bigger boat, and for the past year and a half we've been working on Ocean Melody, and we've now achieved our dream of living aboard and have set off on our very, very slow adventure. In this week's episode we get our first real taste of true boat life as we anchor hop from the beautiful anchorage at Oxwich Bay to the remote and rugged anchorage at Lundy Island.
Also, it's the UK, obviously, we're still in the UK, and the water is freezing. Oh, it's really cold, Jack.
Take it. Oh, go for a swim. Need help, I can pull you back in. Well done. It's odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
So my crazy idea for the cockpit enclosure of having the solar panels on the top here and be able to lift them up. Look, I've got this panel angled to the sun, that panel lifted up angled to the sun. I've got the boom pulled out on a preventer so that the sail bag and the stack pack aren't giving any shade at all on those panels. So we've got full 600 watts there, and then we've got our flexible panel out on the foredeck here. So let's just go and have a look at how many watts we're actually putting in with this basic setup. On the flexible panel on the foredeck we're getting 260 watts in there just from that one panel. It's a 300 watt panel, but we're getting 260, so that's pretty efficient. And then on the wads on top of the pilot house we're getting a total of 300 and well over 300 watts in from those two. So we're currently charging the system you know, the best part of 600 watts in, which is great.
got one big tackle.
We are just on the beach at Oxwich Bay. We're going to queue up and buy some ice cream and get some drinks. And this is the bay. I'm not going to film too much because obviously people are on the beach, but I'll give you a quick pan. And there's Ocean Melody way out in the distance out there. I've got to repair the carburettor on our 9.9, so we're using the 5 horse at the minute because the carb's not very sort of happy on the 9.9. What are you doing down there, Ollie Bobs? Are you swimming in the sand? He's absolutely slathered in sun cream, and we're not letting him stay out in the full brightness of the sun. I'm shading him here because, of course, we're coming in the dinghy, so we haven't come in with a windbreak and sun umbrellas and all that stuff, but we're not going to be here that long. Well, that was very nice. I had an ice cream, I had a drink, and we're going to pop the tender back in the water and head back to our boat. Sorry. Hey, did you enjoy it?
He didn't want to leave the beach.
Didn't want to leave the beach. You had so much fun, you didn't want to leave.
Beach. I just touched something in the water. Well done. I've got us.
You've got us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Got him?
Got him.
Preparing to leave Oxwich Bay. And it's been very, very nice here. It's nice and calm and smooth today. Today our passage is going to be from here to Lundy Island, which is fairly simple. You come out of the bay and take a straight line to Lundy Island. So on paper that looks simple until you look at it a little bit closer. So because we want to arrive at Lundy Island before evening, we're going to have the tide, we're going to be punching the tide for the first 3 hours. What that means is that the tide's coming up the Bristol Channel and we're going out. Now we're on neaps, so it's not a very strong tide, so we'll have reasonably strong tide for the first hour, then it'll slacken off for the last 2 hours, rule of 12s, and then about 3 o'clock in the afternoon it'll go slack water ish, and then we'll have tide with us running out as we get to Lundy. So tide wise that's fine. Wind wise, the wind, prevailing winds are southwesterly, so the wind is coming up the Bristol Channel, so that does mean that we will have wind against tide, and that's giving me anxiety because our last wind against tide experience round Linney Head was horrible. However, I've got to temper that with the fact that it's very light winds, 5 to 10 knots. Maximum predicted is tomorrow morning at 7 AM is 14 knots. Now, I work on the principle that if it says 14, add 5. So we could see 17 or 20 knots of wind in the early hours of the morning, but then we'll be in the lee of Lundy Island by then. But that changes the equation, doesn't it? And then tomorrow, we've got a very similar story. We've got about another 6 or 7 hour run from Lundy Island to Padstow, something like that. And again, we're looking at 10 to 12 knots of wind against tide, but we're not going round a headland. We're not going over any overfalls. So that the wuss, the wimp in me is saying, don't do it, stay here, sit it out, it's a nice little anchorage, go into Swansea Marina, have a few nights in the marina. And then the pushing myself side of things is saying, no, come on, you gain some confidence, go out, You're not going to die. It's 14 knots of wind. You're in a big heavy boat. You're going to be fine. The kids are going to be fine. And the worst that can happen is it's a bit lumpy and a bit uncomfortable. But lumpy and uncomfortable, I found really, I didn't like it the other day. So a bit of brutal honesty, I'm struggling at the moment, if I'm dead honest. I'm struggling with nerves, I'm struggling with anxiety, I'm struggling with the sense of the weight of responsibility of making sure that the family are okay and the kids are okay. And of course Ollie's going to get travel sick from time. He'd get travel sick if he went on a car journey. He'd get travel sick if we went on a long haul plane flight to Australia. All kids get travel sick and they cry and they puke, and that's just what kids do. But I'm sort of feeling like it's all my fault when he does that at the minute. So I'm sort of battling with a bit of that stuff. And again, it's another reason why we're doing 30 miles, just to gain confidence and to build up experience with the boat. And this neck of the woods is a very difficult part of the world to sail in. Bristol Channel, North Wales, biggest tidal range in the world. The tidal range is like 9 metres. And they say, oh, if you can learn to sail there, you can sail anywhere in the world. And I do think that there's some truth to that if we can sail here, the Mediterranean will be a lot easier. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling, get the dinghy on the foredeck, and let's get out of Oxwich and head off to Lundy. The anchor alarm's going mental now because it's on Melissa's phone, and of course we are no longer on our anchorage, which is reassuring because it does mean it would definitely wake us up. Jack's trying to have a go at cancelling it. You know the password from his phone, don't you?
Hello, Lion. Next page. You say caterpillar. Caterpillar. Ribbit. Frog. Frog. Well done.
The wind has picked up a little bit, so we're able to sail now. We're not going very fast. We're only doing about 5.5 knots, but it's nice to have the engine off for a little bit. And you know, in the ideal world, we'd sail absolutely everywhere and come out of the anchorage, turn the engine off, put the sails up, and off you go. But the thing is about the UK, Sailing Florence will tell you the same, and you know, Salty Lass will tell you the same. Anybody that sails in the UK waters, you've got to get to your destination at certain states of tide. You can't, like tomorrow, we've got to get into Padstow for 4 o'clock, and you can get in about an hour and a half either side of 4 o'clock tomorrow. So we'll set off from Lundy, and a chance we'll have to motor, because we could sail all the way, we could tack up, you know, tack down the Bristol Channel, but we just wouldn't make the tidal gate at the Doom Bar and into Padstow Marina, Padstow Harbour on time. Slightly less critical tonight because there isn't a marina that we're going to, but we also want to get to the anchorage in time to settle the kids down, give them something to eat, you know, drop anchor and look at the passage plan for tomorrow. So we are motoring more than perhaps you would, or more than some people do. you know, we're a family cruising boat at the end of the day. I'm not justifying myself. I'm just explaining why we do things the way we do. But there you go. For the time being, we've got a break from the engine and we're just sailing, which is really quite nice.
What are you doing? I'm looking. What for?
There's almost no wind. It's like, I think there's about 7 knots of wind. So we're sailing along at like 3.5 knots. It's okay. You know, we're in no massive rush to get there. Like I say, I just want to get there in time to settle the kids down, put them to bed and, you know, give them some dinner and have a nice relaxing evening. But here, dead ahead, is Lundy Island. There it is. Not sure how much of that you can see. That's Lundy Island.
This is beautiful and peaceful. I'm going ridiculously slow, but it's lovely. Now, we've motored a lot from North Wales, and we'll probably get stick for it because we get stick for everything we do. But the passages are long, really long, and we've got to get places to get through tidal gates. We're looking forward to being in waters where we can do some shorter hops and actually enjoy sailing and getting somewhere. Plus the wind's been all or nothing. There's either been like far too much wind or no wind, but we've got just enough to pootle along the Bristol Channel, and the tide is in our favour currently, and it's gorgeous, and just having all the sails up and the engine off is just so much less stressful.
What time we're going to get there according to Navionic? Sorry?
6:55.
6:55, and we get there at 7 o'clock. Here we are at Lundy Island then. You can probably see it a bit better now because we're a bit closer up. We're just going to sail. There's a couple of sandbanks on when you approach from this side, so we're sailing between the sandbanks. We don't really need to, we've got plenty of depth, but I'm going between them because it's just probably a bit smoother water. And then we turn slightly south and then there's a jetty with an anchorage down here. Let me show you. Don't want to. Here we are. Right, here you go. So over there is the jetty. There's a building on the top of the hill there, and you can see just how steep the cliffs are, but also how small the island is. This is one end of the island, and that's the other end of the island. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny little island in the middle of nowhere. So what we're going to do, keep going on this course for a minute, and then turn slightly to port to go into the anchorage. We've got about 0.9 knots of tide with us, taking us into the anchorage. So we just need to accommodate for that. So I'm going to turn the engine back on now. going round in a circle, scoping out the depth. We don't want to be in too deep water, but we don't want to be so close that when the tide turns, we don't want to end up in shallow water on the swing. So we're going to anchor in about 9 meters, which is quite a lot. We'll probably put out like 40 or 50 meters of chain. Cool. Right, we are anchored up, bridled up, set an anchor alarm, settle down. See you in a sec.
It's a little bit rolly here.
Very, very rolly.
Very rolly.
I'm in my PJs already.
But it's nice. I think I'm a bit sunburned. Am I sunburned?
Yeah, I think you are a bit.
Yeah. It's
It was going to be sick.
You think Ollie's gonna be sick?
He just made a gagging sound.
Yeah. Ollie's having a wander round and I'm going to put him to bed in a minute. He was really hungry, so he's eating lots of food, so I hope he's not sick. And I'm just cooking our dinner for once he's in bed.
Salami,
he's had yogurt and salami and
really nice.
blueberries and crackers and what he wanted. Yeah, but it's gorgeous here. I'll show you around in a bit. So we wanted to stay more than one night here so we could explore the island, but we've only got tomorrow to get to Padstow before the wind picks up, and we don't want to be here when it's windy because it's pretty dangerous to be stuck in the middle of the Bristol Channel at Lundy Island with the wind in the wrong direction. So we are leaving tomorrow morning, but Jack is enjoying. He's outside. Or no, currently he's on a video call with his friends, but he's just been outside with the binoculars looking at everything on shore. Oh, it's always reassuring when there's loads of other boats in an anchorage that can be a bit sketchy sometimes. Means that we've got something right and everyone else seems to think the same. We've got one coming in over there. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over there. And another one next to us here. Oh, and another one. They're multiplying. Jack and I are just having cockpit. Jack and I are having cockpit for dinner. I said, Jack and I are just in the cockpit having dinner. Andy's
cool dibs.
Having dinner inside because he's working and backing up footage.
And it's cold.
And it's a bit. Yeah, it's a bit breezy, it's a bit chilly. I need to tidy up the lines, excuse the lines, but I had to put the child to bed and dinner was important. Jack has some fun facts for you all about Lundy Island.
I haven't memorised them all yet, so it's only a few currently.
Okay, that's fine.
There'll be a voice.
There might be some more.
Yeah. So if I got this one right, Lundy Island in Norse, that's Puffin Island. So a population of what I think 28, 27. And
people or puffins?
People. And what's the other one?
What about the land mass?
Yeah, it's 2 miles long, I believe, and a half a mile wide.
Yeah, I think it's 2.5 miles long by half a mile wide.
Yeah.
And if we were on the opposite side, of this island, where would be the closest landmass?
America, if you just sailed in a straight line, apparently.
That's really cool, isn't
That's really cool, yeah.
You remember anything else?
Someone proclaimed himself king of this island. He was a pirate, I believe.
Oh.
That just went, aha, I'm the king of this island. It also has its own sets of laws and rules.
Right.
And not sure if they still use it now, but there was a currency on this island. It's like they had their own currency.
Oh, that's cool.